Hello everybody, welcome back to H4G Gaiden. I'm your host Tony, and with me is...
Richie.
Richie brought up a topic today, specifically regarding Civilization 6.
Yeah, so Civilization 6 is kind of getting ready. There's a lot of media attention. They've been sort of rolling out a bunch of new civilizations over the past few weeks as they get ready to release their expansion for Civilization 6. I think it's Rise and Fall. Civilization 6 Rise and Fall is going to be the title of the new expansion, and that's coming out in February.
That sounds apt for a Civilization expansion.
Right. But basically, they've rustled a few feathers up in the Canada lands.
Okay.
By including Pîhtokahanapiwiyin, which I'm assuming is how you say it. I don't speak any Native American languages, or I guess First Nation is how they identify in Canada.
Much better than I could have pronounced it. I was taking a look at this gentleman's name, and I was struggling.
We'll refer to him as Poundmaker,
yes,
as he's more commonly known for the rest of the video. But I wanted to try. It's
make an attempt to actually say his proper name.
Please let me know in the comments of the video how badly I did. Please.
Yeah.
But basically, the surviving leader of the Cree Nation today is a little bit disappointed that Civilization 6 decided to shoehorn this leader, who was basically a peacemaker in his time, into a game that's all about basically dominating your opponents, as European settlers did to basically every native tribe that lived, well, tribe, empire, settlement, anything. Pretty much everything in the New World, we took it.
Yeah, basically. So it's basically taking a Native American or a First Nation individual, and like you said, putting them in the shoes of like what a European imperialist, colonialist would be doing.
Right.
Which is why you said it really kind of didn't sit well with them.
Right. And from their perspective, I can kind of see where they're coming from, because especially, I mean, this isn't the first time that Civilization has included a Native American tribe in the game, but it's never quite jived quite right with me, because a lot of times, like, the abilities they get, they kind of try to recreate Native American culture almost, like with bonuses that sort of make you play in the way that a Native American tribe sort of lived in America. But it's not all that conductive to winning the game, so it does kind of seem almost disrespectful to include them, basically to be in there as something to be trampled upon almost.
Yeah. I kind of had two thoughts, kind of two ways of thoughts when I read about this. Now, obviously, you know, I don't know the full history, but from the limited research I was able to do, you know, this gentleman was a peacemaker. He attempted to make peace, and they arrested him, and he was I think he was in jail for like 6 or 7 months, but his health really deteriorated while he was in there. I think it was like a hemorrhaged lung. Then he came out of jail, and he died shortly thereafter. So it was kind of a tragic death. He was very much attempting to make peace, but they just took advantage of the fact that he was there and captured him. So my first impression was, you know, and I don't know the full history of First Nation or Native American tribes and individuals in Canada, but from what I understand with the U.S. and all the research I've done over the years and the various courses I've taken, we've basically disrespected every treaty we've ever set up with them. We'd be like, oh, hey, you know, this mountain is sacred to you. 20 years later, oh, that we never signed anything.
We're altering the deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Pray we don't alter it any further.
So not only is it you know, I mean, the early settlers, I mean, by nature of disease and violence and what have you, basically committed genocide and then continue to just kick these individuals while they were down. My first thought, wrapping up that point, was like, wow, you know, couldn't they have picked somebody else? You know, why do we have to keep, you know, crapping on these people? You know, but then my second thought was, well, wait a minute, wasn't like Gandhi wasn't he a character that he was like a leader of like an army in one of the earlier civilizations? I've never played these games. Richie is a veteran of these games, but I do recall that he was they would just pluck historical figures.
And one of the big memes in Civilization is that very often, like, due to the, like, random personalities they'll give to the leaders, because basically, I mean, if they didn't do that every time you played Gandhi, you would know exactly what he's going to do, which gives you a huge advantage over all of the other players if you're playing with AI. But the thing that I feel is different with Gandhi is that the Indian subcontinent, they did have empire builders.
Yeah.
And they had empires in India. They built empires. That wasn't really something that happened in America north of Mexico.
Yes, correct.
So like, when they include the Aztecs, that makes sense to me, because that was still sort of the culture of that country, even if, I mean, they picked Montezuma, who's, he was a pretty warfaring fella.
Yeah, the Aztecs were definitely a warfaring nation. And a lot of the Native American tribes, at least in what ultimately became the United States, were, bickering and fighting with each other. Nothing as large scale as, like, Napoleon taking over the European continent or something like that, obviously. But, to say that there wasn't violence would obviously be false.
Right.
So it was kind of interesting. So just to backtrack a little bit, the joke regarding Gandhi is that just that he's normally, like, kind of violent in the game, and
I've played many games in Civilization 6 where Gandhi will just come up to me and he'll be like, "Why can't you see that nuclear weaponry is the future?" And it'll be like 5000 BC too, so it just makes no sense whatsoever.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
But it's kind of an amusing meme in the series, just because, that's not Gandhi, but it's kind of fun to see him.
I think that's kind of the developer's approach as well. I think they're plucking individuals from history, but their personality types are kind of randomized. They're unrelated. They just need a new name for a new game. You know what I mean? They just need some new individuals, but obviously the Cree feel offended because they're like, well, why did you have to pick on us? But I'm sure other groups have felt offended too. It's like, well, why did you have to pick so and so?
Right, and it's almost like a Street Fighter sort of situation where all of the leaders in the games are caricatures.
Yes.
It's hard to really hate on it that much. It's hard to hate on Guile and his macho Americanism when you've got E Honda, the sumo wrestler, playing in Japanese corner,
Yes, or Zangief, he's just like, I'm this burly Sambo Russian wrestler, like everything is just sort of an exaggeration.
And even like looking at the response that the nation had, it seemed like they were more disappointed than they were like belligerently upset that this has happened,
Yes, and I think that is more of an appropriate response. They're like, on the record, we're not cool with this, and, we're not going to be, like, mass protesting, we're not going to try to shut down the game, or anything like that, but just so you know, you're wrong.
Right.
Which I think is much more appropriate than just straight up losing your mind over it. And if I was, I'm not saying that I can relate to being, a First Nation individual, but I would imagine I would probably be upset if I saw this. You want to try to preserve your very, I don't want to say like shattered history, but like, kind of trampled upon history. So I totally get that. So I think it was kind of a mild disrespect and a mild reaction.
Agreed.
Ultimately. So let us know what you think about this, and if you're excited for Civilization 6's new expansions.
I am. It's going to ruin my life.
Just in terms of the time suck?
It's big time suck.
You're a big strategy guy, aren't you?
Yeah. I never really get any good, though. I just sort of sandbox it most of the time.
Yeah. I feel like I'm that way with most games.
Right.
I'm just not very good.
When I try to play all of the great releases in 2017, there's just no way I was going to be good at all of them.
Yeah, only Cuphead. We're only good at Cuphead. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. Make sure to subscribe, click that notification button so you know when our videos are coming out, and we will see you all next time.
Have a good one, guys.
Thank you again for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like and a share, and we will see you guys next time.